In this conversation, Nick Freitas explores the complex cultural challenges faced by young men today amid widespread societal shifts. He analyzes the consequences of demonizing masculinity, the critical role of male role models and fathers, the importance of emotional maturity in men, and the pitfalls of identity politics. Freitas further discusses how current cultural dynamics affect family structures, mental health, and political unity, and offers insights into navigating these issues to foster strong, honorable men who can lead and build lasting legacies. Freitas begins by highlighting a unique historical phenomenon. Modern cultural institutions, from education to religion, often convey negative messages to young men, suggesting they are inherently flawed. This pervasive feminization of societal systems correlates with declining happiness across demographics. Young men are told their natural instincts, such as competitiveness, strength, and aggression, are toxic, which neglects the need for structured guidance that teaches these traits as virtues when properly channeled. He stresses that this stigmatization leads to alienation and rebellion, which could follow unpredictable and potentially destructive paths if positive masculine role models are absent. One central issue is the dramatic rise in fatherlessness and the absence of positive male role models. Freitas connects the lack of male authority and mentorship with boys' increasing gravitation toward gangs or destructive alternatives. Boys inherently seek hierarchy, structure, and training to understand their roles in society. If these come from unhealthy or non-parental sources, the outcomes are often harmful. Freitas argues that society needs to recognize this deficiency and restore opportunities for constructive male influence, noting that positive examples in church communities and military veterans serve as critical counterweights to cultural neglect. The conversation explores the misconception that masculinity itself is harmful, clarifying that traits such as aggression and pride have been mischaracterized as toxic. These traits, when nurtured with discipline, purpose, and morality, provide essential capacities for protection and leadership. Freitas compares the phenomenon to a medical analogy where suppressing a natural bone growth leads to deformity. Similarly, driving masculinity underground causes its traits to manifest in distorted and sometimes dangerous ways. He uses figures like Andrew Tate to exemplify how absence of positive direction leaves young men susceptible to more extreme and less principled forms of masculinity. Addressing contemporary conversations about men expressing emotions, Freitas provides a nuanced perspective. Men should be allowed and even encouraged to cry, but context matters. During a crisis or dangerous situation, emotional control is critical. Bottling up feelings in these moments is a sign of maturity and leadership, not weakness. After the crisis, men must have opportunities to process and express emotions in safe environments. His framework divides life into spiritual, intellectual, emotional, physical, and professional arenas, where balance and discipline across these domains enable men to be both strong and tender, capable warriors, and nurturing family figures. Freitas emphasizes that while men uniquely understand and can train certain masculine traits, women contribute essential perspectives, especially in raising daughters. He acknowledges that women often struggle with aspects of male aggression and that mutual respect and trust between husband and wife are critical for effective parenting. A cooperative parenting dynamic, where each spouse supports the other's role, creates a nurturing environment for children to develop into well-rounded adults. An important theme is how identity politics and victim mentality have distorted individual and group identities. Freitas critiques the tendency to adopt oppression or diagnosis as core aspects of identity, arguing this robs individuals of agency and fosters a destructive reliance on external structures. He warns this mindset is politically convenient but personally corrosive, leading to helplessness, resentment, and social fragmentation. He draws on historical insights into mass movements to explain the dangers of surrendering personal responsibility to group identities. Freitas and the host compare generational hardships, emphasizing that today's young men face distinctive cultural and psychological trials unseen by previous generations. Being culturally denigrated and inundated with contradictory messages affects their self-worth and life priorities, including declining interests in family and legacy. Freitas urges understanding and respect from older generations, as well as providing a compelling alternative narrative that restores honor, purpose, and responsibility to young men's lives. Faith and transcendent meaning form a foundation for enduring identity beyond professional or social status. Freitas explains that having a core spiritual identity equips men to understand and endure suffering without despair. It offers an objective moral framework to guide decisions, balancing emotion and rationality. He cites personal experience to illustrate how faith stabilizes identity amid loss and transition, ultimately enabling men to be reliable leaders and protectors for their families and communities. While recognizing economic realities that push women into the workforce and change family dynamics, Freitas critiques the broader cultural narrative that masculinity is inherently problematic. He notes increasing unhappiness among young liberal women, especially those embracing feminist ideals most fully, suggesting that cultural engineering conflicts with natural human desires and roles. He advocates for recognizing and affirming complementary gender roles instead of ideological competition, arguing that cooperative gender dynamics produce greater societal and personal well-being. Freitas underscores the vital need for men who are strong, competent, honorable, and motivated by causes beyond personal gain. He points to a burgeoning movement among young men seeking meaning through faith, family, and service. Referencing political polling and historical cycles of societal strength and weakness, he argues that good men must seize the moment, embracing responsibility even without immediate reward. Providing mentorship, fostering strong communities of men, and reaffirming transcendent values are keys to reversing current trends and building lasting legacies. Towards the end, the discussion shifts to the wider political landscape, highlighting a fracturing Western world where peaceful coexistence between deeply opposed ideologies becomes increasingly difficult. Freitas warns that governments imposing restrictions that undermine men's agency to provide for and protect their families risk inflaming divisions further. He urges engagement through peaceful means like voting, but concedes a hard line may be drawn if essential freedoms continue to erode, signaling potential forced separations or increased conflict. Freitas voices skepticism of contemporary therapeutic approaches for men, which he perceives as often misaligned with masculine experiences, sometimes pathologizing men instead of empowering them. He highlights programs that frame emotional resilience training in terms of operational readiness and family responsibility as more effective for men accustomed to high-stress environments. This standpoint stresses practical, skill-based approaches over purely psychological models, aligning mental well-being with functional competence. Key to male health and maturation are robust social networks comprising mentors, peers, and mentees. Freitas explains that these relationships provide guidance, accountability, and a way to pass on wisdom, ensuring continuity of values and skills across generations. Men evolving from mentees to mentors complete vital social cycles necessary for societal stability. Together with shared faith or common purposes, these networks help men manage hardships with greater resilience and clarity.